Hey, what is going on? In today's training, I'm going to be reviewing with you how to lose 10 to 20 pounds in 90 days. So let's get into it. So before we start, let's go over what we're going to cover in this training exactly. We're going to cover why this is important, some science behind weight loss itself, a basic regimen, so maybe you can take away and follow a few of these for yourself, common pitfalls, and then some FAQs. So the first reason I like to start off with is why is this important? Why do you want to go on a weight loss journey? What is the purpose that you are setting out to lose weight in the first place? If you are building a house, this is like building the foundation. You want to establish solid base before you start to build anything on top of it. So the why is going to really be that cement slab that's going to, basically be your launching pad so you can have that positive trajectory in the route that you want to take. So I listed some reasons out here why you might want to lose weight. Maybe it's a lack of self-confidence, get into better shape for a race or event, be a better parent, feel better, look and feel healthy, improve your health so it carries over into other aspects of your life. Maybe that's your work, maybe that's your relationships. Again, that can be your family, being a parent, being a friend, being a neighbor. And a line of unhealthiness, diabetes, and high blood pressure in your family. I know that's something that I'm definitely working towards. Improve your mental state, or many, many more. Much of our physical body does affect our mental state and vice versa. They play off of one another. Oftentimes, it's easy to say that our physical body is a representation of the conversation and the mental state that we're having inside of our own heads. So maybe before you continue this training, go ahead and jot down a few reasons why you might want to lose weight. Now, let's go over there are right and wrong ways to lose weight. And the goal is really to do it in the most sustainable and healthy way possible. If you can't be on a fitness journey for years on end, really to the day you die, then there's no reason even starting in the first place. Again, you want to find a sustainable and healthy routine. So let's go over some science behind weight loss right now. So I broke this down really into 5 key points. So the first one is you need to find your calorie maintenance level. This is going to be the amount of calories that if you consumed it, you would not gain or lose weight. You would stay the exact same. So there are a lot of online calculators out there. You can Google them, and I would compare and contrast a few of them together so that you can find an accurate representation of your calorie maintenance level, and it's going to be determined based on your activity levels as well. So now that you have your calorie maintenance level, you must be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. That is number 2. Now the difference between your calorie maintenance level and your new caloric intake will determine how deep your calorie deficit is. And the reason I have this highlighted is because this is where most people go extremely wrong and they end up yo-yo dieting, they end up crash dieting, maybe they ruin their metabolism and they find it really, really hard to continue to lose weight. So let's review some of those common pitfalls right here. Again, they crash their metabolism, so one of the first things that they'll find is after even eating a very little amount of calories, they still aren't losing any weight. Now, there's a way to do that and to make sure that you aren't doing that, and that's step number 4, reverse diet, and we'll get to that in a moment. But if you're going down to 1,200 calories just to lose weight, that is not the way to do it. You should not be doing that. Number 2 is as soon as they get back, as they end their deficit, they'll diet, or their diet, they will balloon back up to their original weight or worse. Again, that's just a lack of knowledge, a lack of preparation, and not knowing how to correctively reverse diet back up to your new calorie maintenance level. Number 3, they'll cut out carbs, all their favorite foods, and do this so unsustainably. Again, they end up yo-yo dieting and stay in the cycle for years, wasting time, damaging their body, their metabolism, and lots of energy in the process. Number 4, they don't really know how to get into a deficit, which, again, we can break that down exactly how to do that. And number 5 is you don't understand macronutrients enough and how this plays into your deficit. This is another day for another training, but we'll touch on that a little bit here as well. So now that you're in a healthy calorie deficit and you're not crashing your metabolism, you want to remain in a calorie deficit for 12 to 24 weeks. I recommend 12 to 15, 16 weeks. 24 weeks can be a little bit long, but depending on how much weight you're trying to lose, that can be something that you do, and depending on the depth of your calorie deficit, that is doable as well. Next, you're going to want to reverse diet out of a deficit, and you're going to want to reverse diet for the length of period that you're in the deficit for. And what a reverse diet means is basically you want to slowly start introducing new calories once you get to your new goal weight. So for easy numbers, let's say you weighed 200 pounds and you wanted to get to 185, and at the end of 12 or 16 weeks, you got to 185. At that point, you do not want to start eating the amount of calories that you were at when you were 200 pounds because then you just balloon back up. You want to slowly start ramping up your calorie intake over the next 12 to 16 weeks, or however long you were in that deficit, until you pretty much remain at that same weight, but you're intaking a much higher calorie level. That's how you rebuild your metabolism back up, And that's what you want to do. You don't want to just go back to eating, like you were when you were 200 pounds, because you will just balloon right back up. And then step number 5, going to want to repeat this process to reach your goal weight or look. If you are hitting a plateau, that is a good indication that you do need to reverse diet. Again, there's a lot more I can talk about on a reverse diet, and that is another day, another time. Here is a simple breakdown of calories. So 3,500 calories are contained in 1 pound of fat. So let that sink in. 3,500 calories are contained in 1 pound of fat, or 1 pound of fat has 3,500 calories in it. This would mean that if you wanted to lose 1 pound per week, you would need to be in a calorie deficit of 500 calories per day. So here's an easy breakdown I did, obviously Monday through Sunday up here, and then the number of calories right here on this line is going to be the deficit each day. So 500 each day, and the line below it is going to be the total. So after Monday, you'll be in 500 calorie deficit. After Tuesday, a deficit of 500 calories again. You'll be in 1,000. Wednesday, 1,500. And if you keep going and do this all the way till Sunday, and you stay disciplined on the weekends, wink, wink, you'll be officially in deficit of 3,500 calories, and thus you should have lost about 1 pound that week. Considering that you were doing the correct exercise as well, you should be down about 1 pound. And then here is a quick little breakdown of the deficit guidelines per day that you need to be following if you want to be losing about a quarter, half, 0.75, 1 pound, and 1.25 pounds. I really don't recommend anything over 1.5 pounds per week because that is a little bit too aggressive. And again, that can end up crashing your metabolism. Most of my clients, we aim for around 500 calories per day, depending on where they're starting at. So here's a quick little breakdown that you can follow as well to see what the numbers look like per day if you wanted to drop a quarter pound all the way up to 1.5 pounds. The next thing is you need a very high protein diet. You're going to want to basically be eating 80 to 1.25% of your body weight in grams of protein per day. So that's going to be a little bit of a calculation for some of you, but for easy whole round numbers, let's just say you weigh 200 pounds, you want to be eating 160 to 200 grams of protein every single day. It's going to leave you with a high level of satiety, and it's going to be the amount of protein that you need to rebuild your muscles when you break them down during your exercise and training. I want to make a quick note right here is oftentimes what you'll find is if you're doing this and you have a high protein intake, you're going to be dropping fat but gaining muscle. So the scale will stay the same, but what you see in the mirror will start to drastically change over time. This often looks like a slimmer waist, maybe you are losing a lot in the face, but gaining muscle in the arms and etc. So don't be discouraged if you do not see the number on the scale changing, but if you do see the physical features on your body and you're seeing what you like what you're seeing in the mirror, that's a good indication that you're doing the right things. Okay, next let's go over a basic regimen. So I'm going to outline some basic regimens here that maybe you can just take as a template and add your own twist to it. And before I go any further, I want to say that the most important thing is adherence. Adherence, adherence, adherence. Being consistent with your workouts and your routine is really the most important thing. Doing something crazy and setting up this really complex plan is not the best thing. You just want to stick to something that's simple, that you can follow, and that you know, hey, even with your busy schedule, you can adhere to it. So whether that's 1 time per week, whether that's 6 times per week, adherence is the most important thing. Next is you should be taking 1 to 3 dedicated rest days, depending on your training and what you're training for, to give your body ample time to recover and go again for the next session. Oftentimes, a really big pitfall is just doing more is better, and that's not the truth. Recovering, focusing on the controllables, your intake, your sleep, your water, the amount of steps you're taking per day are really way more important than just trying to do more. Okay, so let's talk about a beginner. So for beginner, we're going to go with 2 to 3 days of strength training per week. We're going to do a push-pull legs. We have an upper, lower, full, or we have a full body each day kind of split. So one of those 3 would work great if you are someone who wants to train 3 times per week and you're a beginner. And then increasing your steps to 7.5 to 10K is going to be pretty much ideal. Intermediate, 3 to 4 days of strength training. You're going to be doing a push, pull, leg, or full body. That's a great routine to follow. Upper, lower, full, upper, lower, and 2 fulls, and maybe mixing 1 to 2 HIIT or LISS cardio sessions per week, depending on what your adherence is, depending on what you like. And then also the same thing, you want to be increasing your steps, 7.5 to 10K steps. And then those who are a little bit more advanced, you're going to be wanting to train 5 to 6 days of strength training. And really 5 days should be strength training. The 6 maybe is a cardio day, and 6 would probably be the most because we want 1 to 2 rest days. So maybe there's a double day in there. You want to be doing 3 to 4 days of strength, 1 to 2 of cardio. You want to maybe have an asynchronous split which basically means that you aren't doing the same workout on the same day of the week. So if you're doing an upper lower full, basically you do upper lower full, rest, upper lower full. So again, if you started on Monday, upper lower full, rest Thursday, then Friday, upper lower, rest Sunday. So on Monday, you're doing a full body, and that'd be an asynchronous split. We have a push-pull legs in here as well. There's a lot of ways you can break this down. You can break the body into muscle groups itself. You can do HIIT workouts. You can mix in Metcon workouts. When you're training more frequently, you have more variety and more options available. If you're looking for a more specific plan, go ahead and just drop a comment below this video and say plan, and I'll send you something over that might be helpful. So some common pitfalls. Going way too steep into a calorie deficit and cutting out your favorite foods so that you yo-yo back up in weight and you kill your mindset. Again, that's not something you want to do. It's definitely something to avoid there. Not taking a holistic approach and just seeing training as the main thing and then ignoring the other 23 hours of the day. To be honest, training is, once you start getting into the habit of it, training is actually the easiest thing. It's only 1 hour of your day. Or in this case, probably shouldn't take you more than 30 to 45 minutes. It's really the other 23 hours of the day that are the most important that add up to the look that you're going for. Again, putting your health on the back burner and never getting started in the first place, that is very, very common. And then the I got this or wing it mentality, this is something that I used to have, where you just exercise here and there, and maybe even frequently, but you're not doing it in a cohesive plan, which leads to you wasting time and energy, and therefore kind of getting burnt out. Now, let's go over some FAQs. I'm not losing weight and I'm in a deficit. Why is that? Well, you're not in a deficit and you're underestimating your food consumption and overestimating how many calories are actually being burned via exercise. So a quick little side note on there is the food scale is going to be really the most mathematic and scientific way to narrow down your nutrition holes. Make sure that you are actually eating the amount you're setting out to eat and you're not over consuming or even under consuming. Under consuming is a very common pitfall as well, where they're like, hey, I want to go into a deficit, so they just don't eat enough calories. That's not something you want to do at all. So I would recommend that eating more fruit and veggies and upping that protein intake is really going to leave you with a higher level of satiety, and therefore higher level satiety, but you also have a lower calorie intake. So you're going to feel fuller, but have a lower calorie intake. Again, another reason that the scale might be reading the same is, you're losing fat and gaining muscle, which ultimately this is what you want, because the more muscle that you have, the higher your basal metabolic rate, and which means essentially that you're going to be burning more calories just naturally resting. So that's what you want. Maybe you're weighing yourself too infrequently. Weigh yourself in the morning and after you go to the bathroom and before you eat or drink. In the mornings is going to be the most accurate representation of your body weight. So try and weigh yourself every day in the morning and then see what that average looks like on a weekly and bi-weekly basis and make adjustments accordingly. This one is one of my favorite, is how do I speed things up? At the end of the day, I always ask people, how long did it take you to get to where you're at? It might have taken a year, it might have taken a few months, but for some, it might have been 6 years, 10 years. This may be going on for a long while now, and there's no magic wand that's going to just make things happen overnight. The closer you adhere to your targets, consistently, which is the most important part, consistently, the faster you're going to get to where you want to go. So on average, I will say that my clients will lose 15 pounds in about 90 days, and that's about just aggressive enough, but not too aggressive, where it's kind of that sweet spot of very manageable. So if you're on a weight loss journey and you aren't losing at that rate, that may be something to look into right there. And then number 3 right here, I don't know how to eat high protein or what a calorie intake, what calorie intake looks like. So if that's you and you fall into that bucket, go ahead and just drop a meal prep comment. So go ahead and comment meal prep below this video, and I'll send you over my easy breezy grocery guide so you can know what options are out there for high protein when you go to the grocery store, because sometimes it's just a lack of knowledge or a lack of awareness of what's around you, and there might be high protein food sitting around you, but you might just not know it. So anyways, thank you for listening to this training, and that is exactly how to lose 10 to 20 pounds in 90 days.